Hello, everyone. For a quick update, other than wearing my tattered Ireland shirt, um, I finally finished King of Yellow. I finished it about a month ago. I just haven't had time to make a video follow up, so that's when I go over it with you guys and hit on a couple of the stories here. So, of the book contents, there are, let's say it doesn't have the contents here, but um, my favorite one I think was the Yellow Sign, and it's the final story in the collection here. Um, it's stupid calls. Oh, should have silenced this thing. Anyhow, yeah. So without any further interruption, um, the Yellow Sign was probably my favorite story in the book here. Um, I'm writing myself, and I did after this so inspired me in my own writing pursuits to I started to include little quotes from other places in my stories as well. Now, as you saw, that one was in like French, I believe. Um, and then so he likes to put little quotes in his introductions to his stories, which is kind of cool. Kind of what's the palette for what may proceed forth from that. The red dawn surmise what we shall do when the blue starlight dies and all is through. There you go, the Yellow Sign. Uh, over the, I would say over the entirety of the text, there's very subtle references to the preceding stories in some places. Yellow Sign had references to the repair of reputations, and which is the first story. And what was the second story called? I can't remember. The Mask. Oh yes, The Mask as well was great. Which is where I've been kind of spamming a lot of the Facebook groups, um, the Facebook Lovecraft groups. The quote, "No mask, no mask." And it's a reference to that story there about the pallid mask and all that. It's just a really good, say just a four story collection. It's really not that much to it. The words, everything about. I mean, what can you say? That hasn't been said 1,000 times by other people here. I would say that he does very well in setting scenes. Um, I see, like I was mentioning in my last video about it, it was a slow start for the repair of reputations. It got kind of bogged down in the trying to establish a setting, and the character was not. I would say the main character of that story was not very likable at all. Who would have thought? But I didn't like the only character I liked was his cousin or whatever. But he was kind of the moral center of the story for everything. And then in the Court of the Dragon was good as well. It's man, but I think the Mask was the one that it kind of was more surprising. Uh, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but just say things being turned to stone and all that was pretty interesting. And the malevolent force, you really don't see a direct malevolent force. You see a lot of, I would say, a lot of, what would be the right term for that? paranoia and uncertainty and the well-established fear of the unknown. And then you don't really get like the yellow sign is when you really get that malevolent force, that there is something beyond just the threat of this forbidden, forsaken knowledge that was being banned all over the world, is what he mentions. Chambers mentions in the story that this play called The King in Yellow is really the character of the entire series of short stories in this book. It's like as if the play was the thing, Shakespeare would say. So it's really kind of interesting to see different people, likable and unlikable. The artist in the final story, I kind of enjoyed him. He was kind of tried to be pragmatic, but was also a fool in his own ways. Thought he was way smarter than he really was, which is kind of fun. But just seeing him over and analyzing everything about what's going on and trying to play all sides of the same situation was pretty fun. Like I said, I'm trying to remain free of spoilers, but I will say that this book was solid. It was a solid book. I would say it was worth the $20 I spent on it, and I would recommend it for everybody. But caveat about that is if you're not fond of short stories, and if you want something that's more like voluminous, like a novel, you're not going to find that here. It's if you like to kind of piece stories together with fragments from other stories, you can find that in this. It's as if this, like I said, the character of this King in Yellow play is really the focus of it, as it should be, is the title of the story after all. So I'm just saying, of the movies, or of the books I've read lately, this is one of the better ones. So get a chance, check it out. If not, I would recommend some of the audiobooks on here. I like to follow along to them. I don't know if it was Darkness Rises or something similar to that. It was one of the audio books I watch on the YouTube when I'm reading along, because it helps me keep my place when I'm being distracted. So that also helps me read faster. So little tip for people that have trouble reading consistently: audio while you're reading, and it helps you move quick. Well, that's just it. King in Yellow, I would 4 out of 5. Not perfect, but I mean, it's not perfect. It's not as scary as you would want it to be. You would think it'd be like more terrifying, but it wasn't really supposed to be terrifying. It was supposed to be strange, and I think it pulled that off 100%. Is it as good as Lovecraft? It's some of them, yeah. I would say he is underrated as a writer, Robert Chambers. He gets a lot of fanfare because of H.P. Lovecraft, but I think his skill is obvious in this book here, and I feel like he's been kind of, I mean, you get lost in the shuffle between him and a lot of the other writers in the I'd say the Cthulhu mythos, especially in the Weird Tales section of, I guess, your Barnes and Noble or whatever library you happen to find something like that in. So anyhow, it's just a little quick update. I am currently rereading Charles Dexter Ward, because I haven't read that since college, and that was probably 20 years ago. That's by Lovecraft as well. And I'm looking to get, Arkham Reporter put out that he was doing or a video recommended reading, and I am so looking to get that book, the Cthulhu and other tales from the Cthulhu mythos or whatever, the one that had authors other than Lovecraft writing. and I'm kind of looking to grab that. So I'm gonna look that up, maybe find some new writers there. And I also have one that I wanted to start reading called the Hagopian, which I was by Lumley, and I remember reading Necroscope in college, I think, but I can't remember like anything about it. But I drank then, so I'm not surprised. Anyhow, I will be looking up to keeping updates on the shit I'm reading, and hope to hear some response from y'all. And take care, everyone. Keep in touch. Keep reading and recommend something for me. I'm really hoping to get something going. So yeah, and update. Think like update on my writing, right? So I've got like a collection of stories coming out, and then because of the King in Yellow, it inspired me to kind of make a networking series of stories that are more about the same thing rather than the same people, but it's going to have interacting or intersecting characters, but it's going to be set in like 2260. I'm trying to keep it vague because I don't want to lose it, but anyhow, that's it. Everyone's trying to call me right this second, of course. All right, take care. Later on. Bye.